Peace be upon you, friends. With you is your friend Darum. I ask you to support the channel by subscribing, liking, and posting motivating comments and an enjoyable viewing experience for you.
I said as I returned my gaze towards the house. If what happened to me was real and not hallucinations, then by sunset that house would be covered with birds, most likely pigeons. Brother, bathroom? Yes. Masters do not walk without followers when they visit the homes of their beloved ones. This happens at sunset and is often accompanied by hordes of birds, most of which are shaped like demons. My brother accompanies him, placing his hand on my shoulder sadly. "It's okay. We will do what you want," I said while smiling. "I know you don't believe me. I don't blame you. There is a part of me that hopes that what I am saying are just fantasies that I created in my mind. Morocco is about to arrive, and in any case, we will know the truth." My brother, "Really what?" I said as I continued to stare at the house. "Either I was really crazy or not." Minutes later, the Maghrib call to prayer was called, and my brother and I were staring at the house and the houses next to it from our car, and after the call to prayer had passed, he said in a cautious voice, as if he did not want to bother me, "What do you say we get out of the car and go? To pray in that nearby mosque?" Before I could answer him, I heard a distant scream from that girl coming from the house. I said, "Did you hear the screaming coming from the house?" My brother replied in a consoling tone, "Sorry, I didn't hear anything." I stared at him silently and thought to myself, saying, "Is this what crazy people feel? Maybe my hearing is stronger than his because of my activated aura. My mind is deceiving me because it is sick. I must accept this fact and stop trying to prove it." I took one last look at the house, then said, after I realized that I was wrong and that everything I had lived and believed in the past was an illusion created by my defective mind, "Okay, let's go and pray." We got out of the car and went to the mosque and prayed Maghrib. During the prayer, I saw the man who was with the girl praying among the crowds, so I thought about approaching him and talking to him, but I did not do so because I had the desire but not the reason. I wanted to advise him about reviewing that quack, but at that time my self-confidence had been severely shaken, especially after I discovered that everything I knew was just an illusion. We left the mosque and headed to the car, but before we opened the doors, my brother and I stood amazed and shocked by the scene that unfolded before us. We saw flocks of pigeons covering the roof of the house. They were dozens, even hundreds, and there was no other house in the neighborhood with a single pigeon standing on top of it. Even the neighbors of the house had completely empty roofs, although the pigeons were crowding one another to stand on the roof as if they were a hive of bees gathered on their queen. I stood astonished by the sight, but my astonishment was not like that of my brother, who remained watching the house with his mouth open until he broke his silence and said, "How did you know?" I said while staring at the roof of the house, "You see what I see, don't you?" My brother, "Yes." I smiled. I almost cried, but I just looked at the ground in front of me, smiling. And I say, "I'm not crazy then." My brother, "What do we do now? Shall we hunt it?" My brother said it while he was still confused and shocked. "No, we will not catch anything. We will knock on the door." My brother, nervously, "What? Why?" I said as I headed to the door of the house. "This girl will not live long, and I know how to help her." My brother pulled me by the arm and said, "What do you intend to do?" I promised myself that I would never read a talisman again, and that I would not return to that world no matter what happened. But there are other ways I can help her without losing myself in that darkness again. My brother, and his tension is increasing. "What darkness? Let's leave from here, please." I rang the doorbell and said, "Just stay with me and don't talk." The man we saw with the girl opened the door for us, and there was great sadness on his face, and his eyes were pale, as if they had not tasted sleep for days. And he said, "Yes, I don't know why, but I couldn't speak at first. I didn't know what I could say to that man, and how to explain to him what was happening with that girl without him misunderstanding me." During my silence, my brother spoke in a moment of confusion and said, "Will you let us in?" The man, surprised, "Why? Who are you? And what do you want?" My brother, with a smile laced with concern, "We want to talk to you about a private matter, if you please," the man, with a look of suspicion on his face. Please, I was surprised by my brother's boldness and courage in that confusing moment, but what he did encouraged me a little and relieved my tension. We entered and sat in the council, and the man sat in front of us. He said, "What's the matter?" My brother looked at me with a look. "Say what you have to say." I gathered my courage and said to the girl I was with at the shakes this afternoon, "Man, what's wrong with her? She screams during her sleep. She wakes up with bruises and wounds on her body. She cries for no reason. She gets angry suddenly, especially at night. She has fits of anger that enable her to resist and attack those who are larger and stronger than her, despite her weak body. She only eats things that are sweet taste. She hates water and bathing." The man interrupted me with a mixture of anger and astonishment on his face and said angrily, "Who are you?" How did I know all this information about my wife? My brother nervously, "We work for the Sheikh, and we joined you after you left because he forgot to tell you something important." The man angrily, "Tell me what?" "I will prescribe for you a mixture that you can prepare at home yourself. Give your wife a drink of it once a day for only 3 days, and she will improve, God willing." Man, "Is this recipe from the Sheikh?" I said reluctantly, Yes, from the Sheikh. And throw away the water and oils he gave you. Man, throw it away. And what about the high price you paid in exchange for it? Is this a trick to get more money? The treatment I just gave you for free. Man, what about the money you paid previously? I turned to my brother as a sign from me to him to pay the man the value of the water and oils that he took from Al-Mutami Sheikh. He did so, and after the man took the money, he said with a frown, "I have been seeing the Sheikh for weeks, and I've never seen you with him before." My brother, nervously, "Maybe you didn't notice." The man looked at us with a look of doubt and suspicion, saying, "Are you confident about this treatment?" "Nothing will happen without God's permission." Man, "And God bless you." My brother got up and said nervously, "Let's go." Man, "Where to?" I said as I got up. "We will leave, and God willing, you will not need anything other than this treatment." I shook hands with the man and left, leaving my brother with him to say goodbye. I got to the car, and my brother followed me a few minutes later. I got in with him, and we headed home. On the way, he said nervously, "I have a feeling that we have committed a crime." "Why did you say that?" My brother, "We prescribed a treatment without knowledge, and that woman may die, and we will go to prison because of you." I said while smiling, "God willing, she will recover." Eating this mixture has a strong effect on demons in love. They cannot stand the smell that will emanate from her body as a result of consuming it, and it will leave her forever. My brother, "How do you know that? Who told you about that recipe? And what demons are you talking about?" I did not answer him. I was busy with myself and ecstatic because I saw a glimmer of hope that I was not crazy. My mind was busy searching for more evidence and clues to prove that I was right, and that the past that I experienced was not the creation of my imagination. But how? How can I, when I have promised myself that I will not go back to reading hieroglyphs or anything related to that world? My brother interrupted my frantic thoughts while I was biting my nails and said, "Aren't you going to answer me?" I read it in a book. My brother, "A book? What book? And how do you know that what you read is correct, and not just written myths?" I smiled and said while staring at the road in front of me, "We will see, my brother. Don't talk like that in front of my mother, so that she doesn't force us to go back to the Sheikh again." I laughed. I haven't laughed in a while. I was happy. I felt relieved. I am not crazy. We returned home that day, and each of us went to his room after we passed by our mother, kissed her head, and reassured her that the Mutami Sheikh had told us that I was not suffering from anything except occasional fatigue. Days passed, and life was very normal. I went to work in the morning, followed by regular visits to my friends at night, reading and writing until dawn. During that period, the effect of activating my aura on me was still strong, and I did not sleep much. I would stay for a few hours after dawn prayers just until it was time for work. Latency is a state of complete relaxation like yoga without entering a deep sleep.